Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
It's great to be back.
Today we're going to be heading 250 miles above us to the International Space Station.
The ISS.
Yeah. We've got a really cool news article that highlights some of the latest research and some of the really cool stuff happening up there.
Yeah, there's a lot going on up there.
Yeah, so much, and it's constantly changing. And, I think one of the coolest things is just seeing how much international collaboration goes into making all of this research happen.
Absolutely. It's a global effort and really shows how much we can accomplish when we work together,
Absolutely. And speaking of teamwork, this article kind of starts off small. It mentions that the ISS got a boost from the Russian Progress 89 cargo craft.
Oh, yeah, I read about that. It's interesting because it seems like such a routine thing, but when you think about it, space logistics are incredibly complex, right?
It's wild. It's
You
this
bet.
constant dance of getting people and supplies up there, keeping the station running, making sure everything's in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, it's like a giant puzzle in space.
Absolutely. And then you layer on top of that all of the research and all of the different things that are going on up there, and it's just mind-blowing.
Yeah. So speaking of research, this article highlights some groundbreaking work being done on DNA-like nanomaterials
Well, yeah, it was fast.
and making mRNA in space.
And I got to say, that's where things got really interesting for me, too.
Yeah, for sure. Most people know that DNA carries genetic information, but what's so exciting is that scientists are creating these materials that essentially mimic DNA's structure, but with custom-designed properties.
So it's like taking the blueprint of DNA and then saying, okay, how can we tweak this to create something entirely new?
Exactly. And this could have huge implications for things like nanotechnology, targeted drug delivery, even building new materials.
It's really pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
It is. And then you've got the mRNA research, which is equally fascinating.
Yeah, what makes making mRNA in space so special?
Well, on Earth, gravity can actually interfere with the production process and lead to imperfections in the mRNA strands. But in microgravity, these imperfections are minimized, and you potentially end up with higher quality mRNA.
So it's like microgravity is giving scientists this perfect environment to create these incredibly pure mRNA strands.
Exactly. And this could be a total game changer for developing new vaccines and therapies.
Like imagine a future where we can create super effective vaccines in space.
It's not as far-fetched as it sounds.
And this research is happening right now, led by NASA astronauts Suni Williams and Nick Hague in the Kibo laboratory module.
The Kibo module is essentially a state-of-the-art lab that's attached to the ISS.
I was going to ask, what is that exactly?
It's designed specifically for conducting these kinds of experiments in microgravity.
So it's like having a world-class lab floating in space.
Exactly, and it's allowing scientists to study things in ways that just wouldn't be possible here on Earth.
And they're comparing these space-grown mRNA samples with those made on Earth to see how they differ.
Right, and by studying how microgravity affects mRNA production, we can potentially develop better vaccines and therapies for all sorts of things.
That's amazing. Everything from infectious diseases to genetic disorders could potentially benefit from this research.
Exactly. It's even possible that this research could lead to treatments that are specifically designed to combat the health challenges that astronauts face during long-duration spaceflight.
It's like we're learning so much about human health by studying it in this extreme environment of space.
Absolutely. It's pushing the boundaries of medical research in ways we never could have imagined even a few decades ago.
And I think for me, what's so exciting is that this is just one example of the incredible research happening on the ISS.
Oh, yeah, for sure. There's so much more.
There's so much more, and it's all aimed at not just exploring space, but also improving life here on Earth.
Exactly. Space exploration is about pushing the limits of what we know and what we can do, and the ISS is really at the forefront of that effort.
This article also mentions some research being done on the digestive system using ultrasound.
Oh, right. I read about that too.
So apparently, weightlessness has some pretty strange effects on the human body, and digestion is no exception.
Yeah, it's fascinating how the body adapts to this environment where gravity is essentially absent.
Right, so this study used ultrasound to investigate how prolonged weightlessness affects the digestive process.
And the findings could have implications for treating digestive disorders back here on Earth.
How so?
Well, if we can pinpoint exactly how gravity affects things like nutrient absorption and the movement of food through the digestive tract, we might be able to develop new approaches to treating conditions like irritable bowel syndrome, or even help people who have difficulty swallowing.
So studying digestion in space could lead to breakthroughs in how we treat digestive issues here on Earth.
Exactly. It's another great example of how space research can have these unexpected benefits for healthcare down here.
Then I think it highlights the importance of investing in space exploration.
Absolutely. The discoveries made in space often have far-reaching implications that we can't even anticipate.
And speaking of unexpected discoveries, this article also delves into some fascinating work being done on fire safety in space.
Right. I was particularly intrigued by this part.
It mentions that NASA flight engineer Butch Wilmore was conducting experiments on how solid fuels burn in microgravity.
Yeah, and it makes you realize how different things are up there. Even something as fundamental as fire behaves in unexpected ways.
So how does fire behave differently in space?
Well, here on Earth, hot air rises and pulls in fresh oxygen, which helps fuel the fire.
Makes sense.
But in microgravity, that upward flow doesn't happen.
I see.
So fires in space tend to burn slower and in a more spherical shape.
Wow. So it's almost like a completely different phenomenon.
It really is, and understanding how fire behaves in space is crucial for developing effective fire safety protocols and designing spacecraft that are more resistant to fire hazards.
So this research could potentially save lives both in space and here on Earth.
Absolutely. It could even have implications for improving fire safety in enclosed environments like submarines or aircraft.
It's amazing how research in one area can have these ripple effects across so many different fields.
It's all about pushing the boundaries of what we know and then finding ways to apply that knowledge to solve problems and improve our lives.
And it seems like there's never a dull moment on the ISS, because in addition to all this groundbreaking research, the astronauts also found time to conduct routine maintenance communication tests and life support system checks.
Right. It's important to remember that the ISS is a complex machine with countless systems that need to be constantly monitored and maintained.
It's like a giant spaceship that needs constant care and attention.
Exactly. And these routine tasks are just as important as the scientific research in ensuring the safety and well-being of the crew and the continued operation of the station.
It's a reminder that even in the midst of all this amazing science, it's the everyday tasks that keep everything running smoothly.
Absolutely. It's a team effort, all the way from the astronauts on board to the engineers and scientists on the ground.
And speaking of pushing the boundaries of what's possible, let's talk about the research being done on growing plants in space.
Oh, yes. This is fascinating stuff.
This article mentions that astronaut Nick Hague is involved in studying how radiation and microgravity affect plant growth.
And this research has huge implications, not just for long-duration space missions, but also for agriculture here on Earth.
Now, how could studying plants in space possibly benefit farmers here on Earth?
Well, by understanding how plants adapt to the harsh conditions of space, we can potentially develop new strategies to breed crops that are more resistant to drought disease or extreme temperatures.
So imagine being able to grow food in areas that were previously considered too challenging.
Exactly. This research could help us increase food production and make agriculture more sustainable in the face of climate change.
That would be a game changer.
It would, and of course this research is also crucial for establishing self-sustaining habitats on other planets.
If we ever want to send humans to Mars or beyond, we need to figure out how to grow food in space.
Exactly, and the research being done on the ISS is laying the groundwork for that future.
It's amazing to think about all the possibilities that space exploration opens up.
It really is. It inspires us to think bigger, to dream bigger, and to strive for a future where humanity can thrive both on Earth and beyond.
This deep dive into the latest happenings on the ISS has been truly mind-blowing.
It's incredible to see how much is happening up there and how it's all connected to our lives here on Earth.
From DNA nanomaterials and fire safety in space to ultrasound studies and plant life in orbit, it's clear that the research being conducted on the ISS is not just about exploring space, but also about improving life here on Earth.
Absolutely. It's a testament to human ingenuity and our insatiable curiosity.
And you know what? We still have so much more to cover. This news article is packed with even more exciting details about what's happening on the ISS. So stick with us as we continue our deep dive.
Welcome back.
Okay, so we're back, and I have to say this article is just packed with cool stuff.
I know, right? There's so much going on up there.
And one thing that really caught my eye was that the astronauts have been taking some incredible photos of Earth.
Oh, yeah, those are amazing.
Like, they even captured images of wildfires in South Africa's Great Escarpment and the Alps in Austria.
From 260 miles above Earth.
Yeah, it's incredible to think that they're seeing these events unfold from that perspective.
It really gives you a sense of the scale of our planet and how interconnected everything is.
And, you know, it's not just about pretty pictures. Those images provide valuable data for scientists studying climate change and other phenomena.
Absolutely. They're a powerful tool for understanding our planet and the challenges we face.
The article also highlights the work of Roscosmos cosmonauts Ivan Wagner and Alexander Gorbanov, who were busy conducting tests on the Zvezda service module's telerobotically operated rendezvous system, or TORU.
The TORU system.
Yeah, I know it's a mouthful.
Yeah, it's a pretty amazing piece of technology, though.
So what does it do?
It essentially allows the cosmonauts to control Russian spacecraft from the station.
So like a remote control for spacecraft?
Yeah, kind of.
That sounds incredibly complex.
It is. Imagine trying to dock a spacecraft with the ISS, which is moving at thousands of miles per hour.
Yeah, that requires incredible precision.
Exactly. The 2RU system uses cameras and sensors to give the cosmonauts a real-time view of the approaching spacecraft.
I see.
And they can use a joystick to control the spacecraft's movements and guide it safely into the docking port.
Wow. So they're basically playing a high-stakes video game with real spacecraft.
Well, in a way, yeah, but it's serious business. This technology is critical for getting cargo and crew to and from the station.
And not just docking spacecraft. Wagner and Gorbanov also tested ways to improve communication with international crews and flight controllers.
Right, communication is key, especially in such a complex and demanding environment.
And their colleague, Alexei Avshinin, was busy checking thermal sensors in the Zarya module.
Making sure everything is running smoothly.
It seems like there's always something to do up there.
The ISS is a constant hive of activity with astronauts and cosmonauts working around the clock to keep things operational and conduct all these amazing experiments.
And speaking of experiments,
there's always something new and exciting happening up there. It's really the frontier of human exploration and discovery.
you know, it's really inspiring to see how much is happening on the ISS.
Yeah, it's a testament to what we can achieve when we put our minds together. You know, international collaboration at its finest.
It really is a beacon of hope in a lot of ways.
I think so, too. It shows that even in the face of challenges and differences, we can still come together and accomplish amazing things.
Absolutely. And this deep dive into the latest happenings on the ISS has been a perfect example of that.
It's mind-blowing, really, when you think about all the different research projects happening up there, from DNA nanomaterials to fire safety to ultrasound studies and growing plants in space.
It's like a microcosm of human ingenuity and scientific progress.
And it's all happening right now as we speak, hundreds of miles above us. It's pretty incredible.
And what's really cool is that all this research isn't just about exploring space. It's also having a direct impact on our lives here on Earth.
Absolutely. The discoveries being made on the ISS are leading to advancements in medicine, biotechnology, engineering, you name it.
So for our listener tuning in, why should they care about what's going on in this orbiting laboratory?
Well, for one, it's a testament to human potential.
Yeah.
You know, it shows what we're capable of when we work together and push the boundaries of what's possible.
It's like this giant leap forward for humanity.
Exactly. And the research being conducted up there is leading to tangible benefits for people here on Earth, new technologies, a deeper understanding of our universe, and maybe even the expansion of humanity beyond Earth someday.
It's hard to even fathom all the possibilities.
It is, but that's what makes it so exciting, you know? The future is full of unknowns, and the ISS is helping us to uncover those unknowns and shape the future.
So given the rapid pace of research on the ISS, what kind of breakthrough do you think we'll see next?
That's the big question, isn't it? Maybe we'll see the development of new life-saving therapies or the creation of self-sustaining habitats on other planets.
Or maybe even the discovery of evidence for extraterrestrial life.
Who knows? The possibilities are truly limitless as long as we keep exploring and pushing the boundaries of what we know.
What an inspiring thought to end on. To our listeners, we leave you with this question. What breakthrough do you hope to see emerge from space exploration in the years to come? Keep looking up, keep questioning, and keep dreaming big. This has been The Deep Dive.